If we ask you think of the largest desert in the world, would Africa's Sahara Desert come to your mind first in your mind? As you can see on this world map, it is Africa, and you are looking at the Sahara Desert. Head north and you'll see the giant Sahara. It covers an area of more than 9 million square kilometers, stretching from the Red Sea in the west and from the Mediterranean Sea in the north to the Atlantic Ocean in the west, including 10 countries: Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Sudan, and Tunisia. However, beneath the barren sand lie many secrets that scientists are still uncovering as their tools improve, and some of them startling and changing everything. The Sahara is often described as a classic desert landscape, scorched by the intense sun, dotted with hidden oases and dunes that have accumulated over the years. It covers almost a third of the African continent and is roughly the size of the United States. It has one of the most inhospitable ecosystems in the world, covering 3.6 million square miles and having one of the driest climates. However, beneath the barren sand lies many secrets that scientists are still uncovering as their tools improve, and some of them are very scary and change everything that we will show you in this video in a moment. How is Sahara Desert? The Sahara is a desert on the African continent. With an area of 920,000 square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world and the third largest desert overall, smaller only than the deserts of Antarctica and the northern Arctic. The desert comprises much of North Africa, excluding the fertile region on the Mediterranean seacoast, the Atlas Mountains of the Maghreb, and the Nile Valley in Egypt and the Sudan. It stretches from the Red Sea in the east and the Mediterranean in the north to the Atlantic Ocean in the west, where the landscape gradually changes from desert to coastal plains. To the south it is bounded by the Sahel, a belt of semi-arid tropical savanna around the Niger River Valley, and the Sudan region of sub-Saharan Africa. The Sahara can be divided into several regions, including the Western Sahara, the Central Hagar Mountains, the Tibesti Mountains, the Air Mountains, the Tinner Desert, and the Libyan Desert. For several 100,000 years, the Sahara has alternated between desert and savanna grassland in a 2,000-year cycle caused by the precession of Earth's axis as it rotates around the Sun, which changes the location of the North African monsoon. If the desert was once green, then what happened to it that it became the driest desert in the world? 11,000 years ago, what we know today as the world's largest hot desert would have been unrecognizable. The now desiccated northern strip of Africa was once green and alive, pocked with lakes, rivers, grasslands, and even forests. So where did all that water go? The Sahara's green shift happened because Earth's tilt changed. About 8,000 years ago, the tilt began moving from about 24.1 degrees to the current day 23.5 degrees. Spacex, a live science sister site, previously reported that tilt variation made a big difference. Right now, the northern hemisphere is closest to the sun during the winter months. This may sound counterintuitive, but because of the current tilt, the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun during the winter season. During the Green Sahara, however, the northern hemisphere was closest to the sun during the summer. This led to an increase in solar radiation, in other words, heat in Earth's northern hemisphere during the summer months. The rise in solar radiation amplified the African monsoon, a seasonal wind shift over the region caused by temperature differences between the land and ocean. The increased heat over the Sahara created a low-pressure system that ushered moisture from the Atlantic Ocean into the barren desert. This increased moisture transformed the formerly sandy Sahara into a grass and shrub-covered steppe, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. As animals there prospered, humans did too, eventually domesticating buffalo and goats and even creating an early system of symbolic art in the region. That wobble is what positions the northern hemisphere closer to the sun in the summer, what researchers call an northern hemisphere summer insolation maximum in every 23000 years. Based on research first published in the journal Science in 1981, scholars estimate that the northern hemisphere had a 7% increase in solar radiation during the Green Sahara compared with now. This increase could have escalated African monsoonal rainfall by 17% to 50%, according to a 1997 study published in the journal Science. What's interesting to climate scientists about the Green Sahara is how abruptly it appeared and vanished. The termination of the Green Sahara took only 200 years. The change in solar radiation was gradual, but the landscape changed suddenly. Scientists mention that it's an example of abrupt climate change on a scale humans would notice. Scientists have found many evidence of human life and their cattle, who once roamed in Sahara Desert. Archaeologist David Wright has an idea. Maybe humans and their goats stepped the balance, kick-starting this dramatic ecological transformation. Wright set out to argue that humans could be the answer to a question that has plagued archaeologists and paleoecologists for years. As Wright poured the archaeological and environmental data, which are mostly sediment cores and pollen records, all dated to the same time period, he noticed what seemed like a pattern. Wherever the archaeological record showed the presence of pastoralists, as in humans, with their domesticated animals, there was a corresponding change in the types and variety of plants. It was as if, every time humans and their goats and cattle hopscotched across the grasslands, they had turned everything to scrub and desert in their wake. Wright thinks this is exactly what happened. By overgrazing the grasses, they were reducing the amount of atmospheric moisture plants give off, moisture, which produces clouds and enhancing albedo, Wright said. He suggests this may have triggered the end of the humid period more abruptly than can be explained by the orbital changes. These nomadic humans also may have used fire as a land management tool, which would have exacerbated the speed at which the desert took hold. Scientists not only found the traces of greenery or human life in the desert, they also found some evidence which will blow your mind. Let's go in the year 1902, when a team of geologists guided their camels into a valley in Egypt's western desert. Strong winds over the centuries have carved the sandstones into strange shapes, and at night the moonlight is so bright, making the sand sparkle like gold. A nearby hill is known as Hell's Mountain because of the excruciating heat of summer, but in this arid valley lies the bones of whales. Yes, you heard that right, whales in the arid desert. Some skeletons are 50 feet long, with vertebrae as thick as campfire logs. They date to 37 million years ago, at a time when a shallow tropical sea covered this area and all of northern Egypt. And though geologists didn't realize it at the time, prehistoric specimens in the sand will provide clues to one of evolution's most nagging questions: how they become whales. One clue found on these long-dead whales is the presence of legs. Scientists have long suspected that whales are terrestrial mammals that have sunk on the ocean floor for millions of years, losing all four legs. The evidence is that modern whales have rudimentary hind limbs. But few fossils illustrated the transition until paleontologists began unearthing hundreds of whale fossils buried at Wadi Hitan and found legs and knees. Older cetacean samples have been identified since then, but those from Wadi Hitan are unprecedented in number and preservation status. The valley, about a 3-hour drive from Cairo, is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with about 140,000 people visiting each year. Paleontologists surmise that the ancestors of land whales were deer or elk or pig-like scavengers that lived near the sea. About 55 million years ago, they started spending more time in the water, first eating dead fish along the shore, and then chasing prey in the shallows, and then wading deeper. Along with that, sea-living animals found in the Wadi Hitan Desert include 5 species of whales, among them the Durud and atrox, presently exhibited in the UM Exhibit Museum. There also are 3 species of sea cows, Sirenia, 2 crocodiles, several turtles, and a sea snake. in addition to a large number of fossilized sharks and bony fishes. Many geologists also compared the Eye of Sahara with the city of Atlantis. If you saw Aquaman or Indiana Jones, you must know about the city of Atlantis. It is believed that Atlantis was on the land once and it went under the water in seconds. The Eye of Sahara partially resembles the city of Atlantis. The Sahara Desert continues to serve up mysteries. Had the Sahara remained in its green state up until today, the entire history of the world would be flipped upside down. Europe would not have dominated the globe, and Africa would be a thriving patchwork of cities and civilizations, becoming the envy of all. However, geologists and scientists are still working to know what is beneath the mighty Sahara Desert. The current discoveries already shook the whole world. There could be many more which are yet to be found. Let's hear what you think of the discoveries in the Sahara Desert in the comments section.